Nerdy Misfit Podcast with your hosts, Connor O'Neill and Matthew Hughes.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Nerdy Misfit Podcast.
Yes.
We're your hosts, Matt
Oh, that's me.
and Connor.
That's you.
And today is episode number 100.
The triple digits. That's
Confetti.
pachoo, pachoo. A lot of effects. Hello. And yeah, welcome to episode 100.
Which actually
is
a special episode because it's actually episode 1 of season 2. So that's right. This is going to be, I don't actually know what the point of separating seasons. I just thought it'd be fun.
I think it's good for, I remember we came up with the idea originally of people that are going to look at the podcast and be like, wow, 100 episodes.
That's too many.
And
Kind of
people
like the One Piece theory.
Exactly. People are going to be like, oh, I got to start from the beginning. So then people are going to jump back to our very first episode called Origins.
Or just not want to.
Or just not want to, but they're going to start and then they're going to stop, guaranteed. Like there's going to be a few people that are going to listen.
Skip stuff. There's going to be people who potentially that is their first episode and they're like, yeah, no.
Yeah, these guys sound rough.
So basically what this episode is episode 1 of season 2, but just the original episode.
Exactly.
So this is going to be...
The only things that are going to change from here on out is better.
Well, it's definitely already better.
Exactly.
It's definitely already much better than the original episode 1. And if you want to compare, you can do so. And trust me, it's better.
The audio alone is a lot better. The way we talk is a lot better.
Exactly. So the main thing was less awkward.
Yeah,
There's gonna be
a lot less awkwardness for
less
sure.
Less pauses, better audio. We're in a better setup because we were on bar stools for the first episode we recorded.
In a room with a single Yeti mic.
And our chairs aren't great, but they are more comfortable than the bar stools.
Yes, I agree with that for sure.
So that's better. And everything else is better. I mean, we actually have a proper audio setup. We have space for both our laptops. We didn't have space for laptops almost at all on the other
No, there's
table.
no space at all on that table.
But yeah, so first of all, if you're already a fellow misfit, welcome to season 2. We're happy to have you guys here. If you're a newcomer, please stay.
Yeah, please.
And we'll tell you a little bit about us because that's what this episode is going to be. It's going to be who is Matt and who is Connor, what's the Nerdy Misfits, and what do we have in store basically down the line.
Exactly. And if you've been a misfit for a while now and you've never jumped back to the first episode, you don't know the...
You don't have to now.
You don't have to.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You
Trust
can.
us. You're welcome.
You can if you want to, but you're more than welcome to
yeah.
start here.
Don't do it.
We're
actually deleting episode 1.
Oh, great. In that episode, we discussed the origins of the Nerdy Misfits, the origin of our friendship.
We discussed how we met,
Yeah.
the origin of the Nerdy Misfit, what it is, what it means to us, and then just kind of overall what we're going to be talking about, what we want to talk about, what we like talking about.
I think so far
we
we've
just like
succeeded.
talking.
Yeah, we really do.
So please listen.
Because we're here to talk.
So I guess without further ado, we'll get into the episode. It only took 3 minutes or whatever.
That's
it is.
fine. It's fine. And well, hello.
Hello. This is Matt.
And this is Connor.
And Connor.
Oh,
and
nice to meet you.
We are the hosts of the Nerdy Misfit podcast. Originally, the idea was for it to be mostly a nerdy, geek-related YouTube channel.
Yeah, full videos all the time.
Turns out that's a lot of work.
Yep.
And when you're like Matt, you work multiple jobs, it's pretty hard to find time to do so. So we kind of came up with the idea with, what if we just got together once a week and recorded a podcast and just chat? And it was a good excuse to hang out, catch up, and then obviously do the podcast. So Matt and I, we actually are going on 10 years of being friends.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Which is insane.
Disturbing. It's actually disturbing.
Yeah.
But
well, 10 years ago, I was finishing up high school almost.
Yep.
And it's crazy to think how much has happened in 10 years.
Good and bad.
Good and bad,
Yeah. But we met at work.
Yep.
We were coworkers. We worked at the same company, but the company was split.
To a sub-department.
Yeah. And I was in the sub-department. And then we had a restructuring. And then the company was coming together. And I met someone from the the parent company, we'll call it.
Yeah, that's probably the best way
Who
to
was
phrase
starting
it.
to work during this time, during the transition at the place I was at. And they're like, just getting to know people. You're just like, what are your interests and stuff? And they pried from me that I liked comics. And they're like, oh, we have someone that really likes comics, like, in the company. And then, thus, Matt was introduced to me. He actually ran up to my cash register and was like, hi, I'm Matt, and I heard you like comics. Which is very Matt.
It is very much is, yeah.
We know that a couple of our people that listen are friends of Matt's, and they definitely can probably relate. That is very Matt to just run up to someone that he's never met before, been like, hey, I heard we have this one thing in common. We should be friends.
That's basically how I make most. If I don't make friends that way, it's me offering people food or snacks, and I get them to like me that way.
Yeah, then you like try
I
and
buy their friendship.
You pry out of them like, what do they like?
Yeah, what kind of nerdum do they like? And then I exploit them.
So from there, we obviously talked a lot about comics.
This was the height of New 52, I think, at the time.
Yeah, we were like in the middle of it.
It was like, I think this was just after you started collecting New 52 Batman. You read Death of the Family.
Yep. Death of the Family is the first comic I read.
Yeah, and I think that was around the time.
I think, the story that they were I think in single issues, Batman was currently on part 2 of Zero Year.
Yeah.
So
that was the Riddler story, right?
Yeah. So, and to this day, I feel like it might be a very biased, but I still think New 52 is
top tier.
Pretty top tier for DC.
Yeah, definitely.
There were some iffy things going on in Marvel at that time too. Some great things, but also some.
That was original Sin era almost, right? Around.
Yeah, just a little bit before Original Sin started.
Yeah.
But we also had the storyline of Spider-Man that was going on.
Oh, Superior Spider-Man was around.
Yeah, Superior Spider-Man was ending.
Yeah.
And we were getting Peter back.
Yeah. I can picture perfectly in my head the cover of that first issue when he's back. He's got like the young face mask off.
I don't have a signed copy of issue when they went back to issue 1, which now they've also redid, and now they just started back at whatever issue they were at for Spider-Man and any Marvel comic for that matter. But I did get the last issue of The Amazing Spider-Man where Peter dies.
Number 700.
Signed by Dan Slott.
Which is crazy. And
I think it was a variant cover too.
Was it the Eye?
I think I'm not sure what variant cover. I'd have to actually look in my comic book box. Haven't opened that in a while. There's a lot of comics in there. But yeah, so just working together over a good, I would say we probably worked together for 6-7 combined years total. Matt left and came back.
Yeah, I'd say around there. Yeah, like 6.
And during that time, we had the idea of the Nerdy Misfits.
Yeah.
And not just that, we also had discussions about writing a book.
Yeah, writing a book, creating our own like superheroes at one point.
We did card tricks.
We did like the Diablo, the Chinese yo-yo.
We did. We learned ASL. We did everything but work.
Yeah, pretty much. We learned. Obviously, we went back to playing Yu-Gi-Oh. We played Pokemon.
Yeah, we played card games.
Like proper Pokemon. It wasn't just
TCG.
Collecting the cards.
We did have other friends that we obviously met at work that also had interests as well. But from there, that was 2016, I believe, is when we first came up with the idea of the Nerdy Misfits, because I made the YouTube channel in early 2017.
Yeah. So it was just before that then. Mid-2016 would have been when we discussed it.
And we never did anything. And then fast forward to basically 2 years ago now.
Yeah, literally. I'd say about 2 years ago, because we did record a couple episodes before we started releasing them.
So 2022, we finally were like, you know what? We're doing a podcast. It's going to be a lot easier.
Without the hiccups, not the hiccups, but the pre-recordings before that, when we tried to record one in front of a camera. Then we decided to record like random snippets of like character origins in the closet.
True. Okay, you're right. We did attempt YouTube videos.
Yeah, we didn't post any of it.
We had the audio recordings of them and the beginning of gathering the media we wanted to use, whether it was video or images. For I think there was a snow. We
recorded Snowbird. It was like this whole thing. I had this idea of doing like 60-second case.
And the 9 Titans.
And I think we were gonna do the Hokages at one point.
We had a list.
Yeah.
We still have a list.
We still have a list.
It could come. Some of them might be not as relevant, but they could come out.
You know, obscure characters. It's fine.
But yeah, so now we're here on episode 1 of season 2. Basically, I think the most impressive thing for me is that we went up to right now without skipping a single week of
Which is
uploading.
insane.
And I just don't think it was an achievable goal for us to even do something remotely close to that when it comes to YouTube video.
Yeah, 100%. I think if it was a YouTube video, I think we would have slid off. Would have been almost maybe once a month. Like,
we would have got busy, would have
Yeah.
missed our own schedule, and then
the fact that I'm able to work 3-4 jobs and still have a weekly recording with you, and you work your jobs and stuff like that. Like, if you know who we are, like outside of the podcast, we're very busy people.
very hard to find time,
So
especially Matt.
Yeah, especially me, which hopefully that will change.
But why the Nerdy Misfits? So I haven't been asked this question specifically, but it's worth noting that obviously these terms get thrown around that are not interchangeable because they all have their own meaning, but I think a lot of people pull them together anyways. And that's stuff like geek, nerd, dork. And although we're the Nerdy Misfits, which a nerd is technically associated with glasses and more of like high intellect,
Yeah.
like
Science and math.
scholarly.
Yeah.
And geek is more what I would classify ourselves as.
Yeah.
Dork, not so much. We're not dorks.
No. Yeah. Never.
But the reason we went with Nerdy Misfits is one, it just sounds nice.
It's a geeky misfit or geek misfits just doesn't. That sounds like a tech company.
The misfit part comes from Misfit Island.
Yeah.
Like, not fitting in, because although a lot more accepted now to be a comic fan thanks to something like
Yeah.
the MCU.
We jump back 10 years ago, like that was just Age of
Or if you go even
Ultron.
further too, it's
yeah.
worse, right? Like if you think of people were hiding or not exactly telling people, hey, I'm a comic book fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm into anime or manga or whatever it is.
I'm in a D&D.
A D&D campaign, exactly.
Yeah, that was like
So the idea of the Misfit was it's Misfit Island, like from Rudolph.
yeah, to create a space or a service of some sort.
Basically, we're creating a community
Exactly.
where people can feel like we want you to feel like you're welcome. You're welcome to come in. We have a Discord, which the link will be in the description below, where you can just talk in the general channel if for somehow there's not a spot for you in one of our set channels that we have
Let us know.
aside. But we just wanted people to be able to find someone else that they can share their love for their hobby with. And that's kind of what we're attributing the whole nerdy to.
Exactly.
Hobbies, or we like to call them nerdisms.
Yeah. Interests.
Fandoms,
Fandoms.
etc.
No.
And the goal is just, don't think too deeply into the name. The goal is just to create that sense of
Yeah.
community where hopefully there's someone for everyone to talk to about something they like.
Exactly.
And maybe something new for us to learn that maybe we might end up liking.
Exactly.
That's definitely one big thing for sure, is we want this to be interactive. We want to be able to ask you guys questions. We want to be able to answer your questions and potentially even look forward to doing something together in some way, whether that's watch-alongs, which we currently are doing an anime watch-along every month.
Yep.
Which is on our Discord as well if you wanted to join in. Just for an example.
I think it's, and that's something we really want to push moving forward too, is to, if you guys want to be involved, don't be afraid to send a message in the Discord on any server or anything like that. Connor will reply. I'll reply.
Yeah, we love answering questions. We have a whole spot on the server dedicated for people to ask questions that we try and answer on the podcast. And we even let you know that we answered it, so you have something to look forward to if you're a podcast fan.
Exactly.
Moving on, we can go to Who Are We? Do you wanna start, Matt?
Hi, I'm Matt. I like long walks on the beach.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's not that kind of podcast. Sorry. Yeah, my name is Matt. I mean, I'm a huge nerd and a geek, I suppose. Depending. I got a lot of fandoms. I mean, more recently, my newer fandoms have been anime and manga and RPGs.
Yep.
Within the last couple of years, if you're just joining the podcast, I've been working on a Power Ranger RPG off and on for the last couple of years. We're going to hopefully have some guests in the future. to chat more about that. And then Connor actually got me into anime and manga a few years back. So those have been like the 3 biggest, newest ones. But otherwise, I'm an avid comic book reader for Marvel and DC. Obviously watching the MCU, the DC movies. I'm a big movie guy. My background is in broadcasting for television, film, into radio in there. Big Star Wars fan.
That's right.
You know, and I think honestly the biggest thing for me is probably that I'm a book reader.
Yeah, you want to know, really, I think that's one thing about you is if you listen to the podcast, you would obviously know Matt's big into reading, but it's not generally what you talk about first when you talk about your interests.
No.
It's you find common ground, and I don't want to create that box that no one reads kind of, you know, but
you read is a dying art.
yeah, it's not something that a ton of people do. So opening with, hey, like, have you seen MCU films? Because it's
a
something
lot
a lot more
easier,
mainstream.
yeah. And I'm not gonna be like, hey, have you read Axis, the Marvel storyline?
Exactly.
People are gonna be like, the what?
Exactly. You're covering those mainstream things, and then maybe as you go in, then you're like, hey, yeah, I like to read books.
Yeah, did you know this one movie?
And all over the place too, not just specific genre of books.
I read
very
like
broad.
I got Stephen King, Mitch Albom, Star Wars novels, R.A. Salvatore, young adult novels, Eric Walters, Emily Henry, which is like young adult / romance novels. I do manga. Like one of my favorite mangas is Promise Neverland.
Light novels.
Light novels as well from Japanese culture, not culture, sorry, like Japanese authors.
Japanese authors.
Like
yeah.
I do a little bit of everything. Poetry as well. Like
big.
that's big in my thing too. And like I'm an inspiring writer. Let's phrase it that way,
okay.
because I've
Very
yet to
nice.
publish anything. But I write
Stay tuned.
spoken word. I write poetry. Write short stories. I've done a couple short films.
You have done short films, some of which have won awards.
Some of which have won awards. Yes, I traveled to Los Angeles once upon a time due to a film festival that my film got accepted into.
Yep.
And if you want to know more about that, let us know.
Maybe a future episode.
Maybe a future episode. Talk about Matt's film projects.
Hey, they're always
Deep
coming
dive.
out. Some of them are fun, though.
Some of them are really fun. I mean, the documentary is obviously more serious, but the pirate one's fun. A couple of the alien egg ones.
I was going to say, some of them might
interesting.
not be as serious, because I think one thing that makes your projects fun, too, is it's a way to get your friends involved, too, because you literally have
Exactly.
your friends come, and they're like, hey, like, do you want to be in my film?
Yeah. Exactly. Like if you look at the most recent one I did, Whispers of the Sea, that entire crew, both behind the camera and in the camera, are just a bunch of my friends. Like
And they're all having fun. You
They're
can
all
tell.
having fun. They're all having a great time. Like we have 10 minutes of bloopers.
I was going to say, I've seen the blooper reel.
And it's so funny.
You can just tell everyone's just having a great time.
Exactly. And that's really, when I'm on a film set, 9 times out of 10, that's the feel I want to do. That 1 out of 10 is like, guys, we need to smart up and get this freaking film done.
Guys, the sun is going down.
Yeah, we are running out of literal time, guys. But yeah, I feel like that's mostly me in a nutshell. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's pretty good.
That's
I think one thing I would add is you're not a coffee snob, but you definitely enjoy coffee.
True. I am more of a tea drinker than a coffee drinker, but I know a good amount of coffee.
Aware, you know.
Yeah, I've worked
you
at
dabble.
I'm at my 3rd coffee shop now that I've worked at over the last 10 years now.
2 of which are proper cafes. They're not. He has worked at big SB,
Yeah, the big corporate, you know.
but actual
one-
cafes as well. So
yeah.
you've gotten that more smaller.
Yeah, the small local, like off the beaten path kind
A
of thing.
proper
like that.
cappuccino.
Yeah, learning
proper
flat
macchiato.
white, knowing what a cortado is actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, the one I'm at now, like it is. I don't want to say it's bougie, but
It's
like
bougie.
it's
I've been there. It's a bit bougie.
it's a little bit bougie, but I enjoy it.
It's a bit on the hipster side.
Yeah, stay tuned because we might be doing a coffee style episode with somebody I work with.
We could.
So that's a
It'll be great.
potential. You know?
I don't know how many people are into coffee in terms of deep diving into coffee, but
it's an
everyone,
interesting-
but a lot of people drink coffee.
Exactly.
And
So if
maybe
you want to
it's
know
nice
the
to learn about it.
fundamentals behind the coffee that you're potentially drinking,
Learn about the beans.
learn about the beans.
Yeah. So I guess we'll dive into me.
Yeah, let's jump to you because I was just talking for a little bit there.
Okay, so I guess I started actually I started more on the athletic side where I was a lot more into sports. I played hockey, soccer, baseball growing up. And yes, I guess we should mention we are Canadian. As I say hockey, I'm just thinking
Oh, hey. Welcome to the Canadian Nerdy Misfits podcast.
Yeah. So, been able to skate since I was like 2 or 3 years old. And I still love hockey. I'm a big soccer fan, football fan as well. I'm a suffering hockey fan at that. Actually, I'm a Sabres fan. And if you know about the Sabres, we haven't been in the playoffs for over a decade at this point. So I'm not a happy hockey fan. But I'm also a fan of Liverpool FC, who is at least good. So
True.
it's like balance. It's a balancing act. And then I got into comic books in high school. And yeah, I mean, I've always liked, I mean, I guess as a kid, superheroes are just awesome in general.
Yeah.
Cartoons, you see stuff like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Obviously, for us, we had the Justice League, Batman
Justice League
animated series.
Yeah, and TS.
So
The Teen Titans show.
yeah, I was definitely into like superheroes.
Yeah.
But I read my first comic book in high school, and yeah, I just fell in love with the art, with the writers, just the craft in general. I probably should give a lot of credit to Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder.
Yeah, I was gonna say the duo that started it for you.
A very good duo to open with, I think. They did such a fantastic job. And yeah, from there, I've always loved Star Wars. That's just another thing that kind of, I think, same for you. We grew up
Revenge of the Sith
through
was like
the
that was my
prequel
childhood.
trilogy. We just grew up with it.
Exactly.
And so loved Star Wars as a kid. I'm not as deep into Star Wars now. I would say I watch all the visual content that comes out. But I'm not like reading books. I don't play every single video game that's come out of Star Wars. But I definitely enjoy the world.
Yeah.
And then my current, like you, one of my biggest ones is anime and manga. I have a manga collection. I have a decently sized anime collection as well, actually, which I don't think I've ever mentioned that I actually own.
I don't think you have. Yeah, you have a good amount
of physical anime.
Yeah.
I have to actually like it, though.
Blu-ray, yeah. Well, yeah, because the anime is
it's not
expensive.
But yeah, I'm very much into anime manga thanks to Gray, who we've had on the podcast multiple times. But yeah, ever since I believe it was Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was the first ever anime I watched, which if you are avid listener of this podcast, you would know that we don't recommend actually watching that because it's such a high rated series. It's starting to giving that bar a little too high, I think.
Yeah.
But I definitely love manga. I love the simplicity of manga in terms of its black and white, but how complex art can be, even though it's only black and white when it comes to the shading.
You appreciate it more, I think.
The shading, and I don't know, there's just something artsy about reading backwards. You know?
Yeah, bougie.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm reading backwards.
Get on my level.
I'm reading the wrong direction. I'm also, I wouldn't say so much into RPGs, but mostly D&D.
Yeah.
We might be dabbling. You never know. Maybe future episodes.
We have
outside
potential.
of the D&D.
Yeah.
We have stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender that we know that there's a big RPG for.
Power Rangers, obviously.
And then also video games, esports. I dabble in watching some esports, mostly League of Legends and CS. And then, yeah, I play video games as well. Not as much, actually, as I used to.
You used to be bigger in the video games, I think, yeah.
But definitely still play.
Pokemon, that's something I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
We're both decently into Pokemon. Not as much as we used to be.
Obviously, because we forgot to mention it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say what you would expect to hear for the most part on the podcast is probably current events in terms of comics, comic book movies, anime and manga.
Yeah.
And that's the majority of what will be covered on this podcast, with some sprinkling of D&D/RPGs. And whenever there is some Star Wars content to talk about, we often have talked about it as well.
Exactly.
And have we done a sports? We had a guest, Troy, on who did talk about
that was
a
more
little bit
esports
more
and sports, yeah.
But yeah, we mostly cover anime manga. I would say is about 50%, maybe a little bit more. Might be closer to 60.
Yeah.
And then the rest is mostly anime manga. The other 40% is actually anime and manga now that you mention it. But yeah, comic book movies. A good chunk of that is actually just being really rude to DC
Unfortunately.
because we are actually both massive DC fans. So it's more out of love. Our hate towards
We do it
DC
because we
films
care.
is because we care.
Exactly.
And then the random episodes where we might talk about food or something.
Food, we have had 99 episodes plus 6 specials. So there's a little bit of everything.
There's a little bit of everything. And the other thing is we don't expect everyone to listen to every episode. If you do, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
But
you very much.
It's not an expectation. We know that we have listeners who, one, are not as big into anime,
Yeah.
so they might not watch the anime stuff.
Or people that haven't watched certain Marvel stuff yet, and they're waiting for them to watch it. Then they can come listen to the episode.
We tried our best also to not be spoiler. We
Yeah.
try and give the heads up if we are talking about a recent series or a film. And the other fun thing is we're also discovering new stuff as we go. Just last week, we talked about Dune.
Yeah.
Which is a new fandom for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't even completed the whole series, but I'm reading it right now, and never thought anything about anything. But it's a movie that came out. I saw Dune 1. I was like, I wasn't into it then, but Dune 2, I rewatched Dune 1, and then I watched Dune 2, and I don't know.
Like, I'm in the
Something
world now.
clicked.
Yeah.
And also, it was a beautiful film. That doesn't hurt. But yeah, that's pretty much what we
That's who we are.
that is who we are, and that is a large chunk of what we'll be talking about. Obviously, like we said, we have a whole season 1 that if you guys want to go back and listen to, where we've covered all sorts of topics, and throughout the future episodes, we'll probably be referencing them. We can link them, or we'll definitely be talking about the episode number so you guys know what episode we're referencing. But it's just worth noting that if you like any of those things we talked about, whether it's anime, manga, comics, the movies for any superhero movie, really, Star Wars, RPGs, board games.
Board games is stuff. Yeah,
games.
board games is a big thing for me too.
Video games, esports, or even traditional sports.
Yeah, we do cover a lot of things. It's like the only things I can think of that we don't really cover, and these are just because these just aren't really our fandoms, is Star Trek, Doctor Who, and Magic. We don't really we talk about
What'd you say to me?
TCGs, but Magic the
Magic the
Gathering,
Gathering.
not Harry Potter Magic.
I was like, what?
No, Magic
We
the
do like
Gathering.
Harry Potter.
We do like Harry Potter.
We just grew up with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're Potter heads.
Yeah, no, we're not in the lore, but we dabble.
We know it. We've read the books. We've
read
read the books at work.
We've read the books. We've seen the movies, guys. It's good enough. You know?
Exactly.
But yeah. So then, moving on. What can we expect from the Nerdy Misfits? Like we kind of discussed, we're all over the place, but we mostly do focus on the discussions that we kind of just listed.
I guess. Do you want to cover a couple just facts then? What if I was to put you on the spot right now, Matt?
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite DC characters, Marvel movie, DC movie, anime,
all
manga.
those questions. Like, what are my favorite?
Yeah, just
things
give us
in
a couple
general?
of like, what are some of your favorites?
I mean, some of my favorite mangas is Promise Neverland for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a
that
really
is
good
phenomenal. That one has a special place in my heart because that was the first manga I read weekly. It's my first box set, which are two big things. And also, like, I Want to Eat Your Pancreas is another manga, which I really enjoyed.
Did you enjoy the anime?
I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched the anime?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't watched it yet. So I'm curious how the adaptation is on that. Favorite anime? I mean, cliche to say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but the openings are good. The outros are good. The animation's good. The story is pretty solid overall.
I was gonna say it's worth noting that you are also a man who's very interested in cultures.
Yes.
You like to educate yourself on different cultures, different religions, and you definitely are a sucker for, I think, religious references.
Yeah, that's stylistic.
And that is obviously something that's big in the Full Metal Alchemist story.
Exactly.
So it really is up your alley for more than just how amazing it is. Just the story in general.
Exactly. Moving on, but also kind of connected to that is Fate Stay and Limited Blade Works, Fate Zero. Like, those are beautiful.
Yep. And you love the historical references.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've watched some of the Fate series, and obviously the big anime that obviously this will always be, and I've talked about it so many times, is Your Name. Just a beautiful film.
Yep.
All around great film. Moving on to Marvel and DC. I mean, I'm a big Green Lantern fan. If you know me, you know I'm a big Green Lantern fan. New 52 Green Lantern was great for the most part.
Jeff Johns.
Jeff Johns, backbone of the New 52 alongside Scott Snyder. Other DC characters that I really enjoy is Swamp Thing.
Yep.
Which is another big one for me. DC movies. I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy. You can never go wrong with that. Like, that's just a solid movies.
The Dark Knight trilogy is another thing that we grew up with.
Yeah.
When you look back at how old it is.
Which is crazy.
It hurts a bit.
We old.
Yeah, 2008 is the release for Dark Knight.
Dang. That's
Yeah.
crazy to think about, actually.
And I'm not positive, but I want to say either 2003 is
Batman Begins?
Batman
I think
Begins.
it's 2005.
Is it only 3 years?
I think so. 2005 was
Which
Batman
is also
Begins,
the start of Christopher Nolan for his like big pictures.
Yeah.
And now he's won an Oscar.
Which is crazy. Marvel wise, big X-Men fan.
Big X-Men fan.
I love me some time travel. Love me some
Plot holes.
plot holes that just don't add up, never will add up. It's great. Particularly like Cable or X-23. I'm also a big fan of the symbiotes.
Yeah.
Do love me some symbiotes. For Marvel movies, this is tough.
We have a whole tier list for the
Yeah.
MCU. So that should say
Yeah. So, if you want to check some stuff out from season 1, we have a tier list where final episode will be coming out soon. Where we just do the MCU. But yeah, it's crazy on that part. Some of my favorite Marvel movies, Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire.
Yep.
Um,
I'm with you there.
Endgame. That's
Yeah,
just a
that
cop-out answer, but
But it was unreal.
it's
It was
unreal.
worth it. Worth the wait.
Civil War, Chef's Kiss,
Civil War, good.
First Iron Man.
I was gonna say original Iron Man.
Like, there's a lot of good options there.
Winter Soldier.
Winter
me.
Soldier is for you, not for me. It's not a bad film. I enjoy it, but there's a whole story behind that of just it got hyped up so much for me that I watched it.
Couldn't
I was
live
like,
to the hype
"It's not
that
bad."
for you. Yeah.
Otherwise, before I move on jump to you now, is animated content for Batman. Sorry, for DC would be a lot of the Batman stuff, Batman animated series, particularly Batman Beyond, the film Return of the Joker is really good, Mask of the
Justice League.
Phantasm, some of the Justice League stuff.
Some of the earlier ones are good.
Yeah. And then Marvel doesn't really have too many good animated stuff. There is
The
one
90s stuff.
the 90s stuff with the X-Men.
We're currently with X-Men.
X-Men 97, the Return of the X-Men show, which is fabulous.
But yeah, we definitely have the old school, some of the old
Yeah.
school Marvel stuff. Like,
Exactly.
Like you said.
There is
X-Men.
there is one Marvel movie that came out mid 2000 that I don't mind. It's called like The Next Avengers, which
Okay.
of course is like alternate timeline. The original Avengers
Yeah,
have
that sounds like
kids,
something that you would
blah,
like.
blah 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 blah.
Alternate timeline.
Ultron takes over the world. That whole shebang. Yeah, I spit on a lot of stuff there, but I mean Star Wars.
Who's your favorite Marvel hero?
Spider-Man is so cliche, but Spider-Man, Cable, X-23 is kind of a gray area.
That's fair.
Venom, if he was like Agent Venom, was a great
no,
story.
yeah,
I
for
really
sure.
enjoyed that. So, yeah, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, I don't have an original answer for some of those. Marvel, definitely been a Spider-Man fan since I was a kid. And that also just comes down to my dad was a Spider-Man fan when he was a kid. He literally collected Spider-Man comics when he was a kid.
Insane.
So obviously, I'm sure the first chance he could with that 90s cartoon coming out, he was like, I'm going to get my kids to watch that.
Heck yeah, so he could take credit.
So
He can watch it too.
Spider-Man definitely holds a really close place in my heart. Also, it's something that like my dad grew up with and liked, and something obviously you can
Yeah.
discuss with him. Batman is definitely one of my favorites. Like we said, first comic book was a Batman comic book. And then from there on, I collected the whole run and further of the Batman series. So that goes without saying. But actually, my favorite hero for DC is Nightwing, which is actually he's popular, but I feel
Yeah.
like that's not as
A
it's
common
not like
answer.
he's super special in any way.
No, it's just Nightwing.
Batman's sidekick. I just like his story.
Yeah. Bloodhaven.
He has similar, obviously, tragedy, similar to Bruce. Obviously, that's how he ends up becoming Bruce Wayne's sidekick. But I love the story of him wanting to, I'm not Bruce. I don't want to be Bruce. And him creating his own way. So I definitely am very inspired by his character. And I think that he has a really cool suit as well. Both the red and the
I was going to say,
blue.
which do you prefer, the red or the blue Nightwing suit?
Probably blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The modern blue, not the OG blue.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Definitely the current. Yeah, like the full black with just the Nightwing logo. Yeah. As for manga, anime, manga, I definitely am a massive One Piece fan. You'll find out that we talk about One Piece a lot. Even if you go through the backlogs, there's already a lot of One Piece.
Yep.
But I ain't gonna stop because
it's freaking One Piece.
it's great. But I'm also not a crazy One Piece fan. I'm not gonna make people watch it. I will suggest it and recommend it and say it's worth watching. More so worth reading.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who pushes the anime. I actually think at this point the anime adaptation is pretty bad. But I definitely recommend reading it. Also, you get through it faster if you read it. Matt can actually is proof of that. He actually read it during the very first year of doing the podcast.
Yeah, I did.
I also love Berserk.
Yep.
I don't know many people who don't after they've actually read it.
Mm-hmm.
Vinland Saga is up there. I also do really enjoy The Promised Neverland. I thought it was a very solid story. It was not longer than it had to be, which was nice.
So nice. It wrapped up fine. It was a good length, not too crazy, not too long. It's only 20 volumes.
I also don't want to throw us under the bus, but we definitely watch and I also read different genres, but
yeah,
we also
Shonen
do end up,
junkies.
we definitely gravitate towards the action. That being said, with anime, Hunter x Hunter is up there for me. Obviously, both seasons of Vinland Saga have been great so far. Ouran High School Host Club holds a special place in my heart.
Yep.
So does Clan at After Story. And this one is one of my favorites. And the reason for it is it kind of is what got me into anime. Because, like I said earlier, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood was the first anime I watched.
Yeah.
But I had reasons for watching that. I was watching with someone else who recommended it. Just, keep bonds and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. They're like, yeah, you would like it. You'd like this anime. Trust me. And I did, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But Naruto is the one where I got hooked.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm all in.
Music's good. Characters are mostly good. Fighting scenes are great.
There's issues with the anime. There's issues with the story even. But it just holds a special place for me. So it's always going to be a favorite, even if it's not the best. And that's something else we try to be. We do try and be a little bit more critical in terms of just because Naruto is one of my favorites doesn't mean that it's
a top tier. Like,
that it's
perfect.
It's safe from criticism.
Exactly.
There's too much filler. Yeah, the last arc is a very questionable. Yeah, Boruto is like a big money grab, 100%. Like, I totally agree. It just holds that special place for me. I won't say any favorite anime characters, but me and Matt both have my anime list. We can leave the link in the description if you guys want to add us. You're more than welcome to. We also have. Do we both have Annie lists? I'll also put that.
We both have Annie lists. I don't update Annie lists as much as you do, but
yeah, whichever you use, we have both. So I'll put them in the description. Feel free to add us if you're an anime fan.
And if you're a book reader, if you have Goodreads, let us know. So we can.
You can see
Goodreads
Matt.
is good too.
Yeah, there you go. And you can see that Matt's got a lot of books. We read a lot of books. And then I guess for future episodes, what do you want to let everyone know? Kind of what we have down the pipeline at the moment.
I mean, we actually have the next 11 episodes.
This
roughly
is I was gonna say this is something else we've improved on.
Crazy.
We're more organized. It was a
Exactly.
little bit more. What the heck are we gonna talk about today?
Hey, do you want to talk about this? I don't know, maybe. And then it just
we sit down, we talk.
Exactly. Some episodes you can see in the next upcoming future of the next couple months. One big thing that is new to this recent episodes is something called Anime of the Month. The last Wednesday of every month, we talk about a random subject, and then we talk about our Anime of the Month. It's April. This month is Haiku. So you can talk about that in the Discord with us under our Anime of the Month discussion.
I totally forgot it was haiku.
It was haiku. Yeah, you literally told me that it was haiku.
Good thing you remembered.
But otherwise, like we've done one for January, which was Bocchi the Rock. February, which was Heavenly Delusions. The third one, the March was the Kiso Monogatari trilogy films.
Yep, the prequel films.
This one's haiku. Don't know what next month is going to be, and that's okay. But yeah, so last Wednesday of every month of this year is going to be the anime of the month plus random subject. Next week's episode is a big episode. We've been hyping this episode up for a little bit. We recorded it weeks and weeks and weeks ago. It's a really fun-filled episode. Super excited. We have our 2-year episode coming up. We got a Star Wars-themed episode. We got an MCU featured episode. We got some friends coming on in the future, talk about some RPGs, talk about some Pokemon. We're going to be ranking some MCU. Another thing, if you're new to the podcast, we do talk about the seasonal animes. So you're going to be seeing a summer anime episode talking about the anime that's coming up this summer season,
where we also discussed the previous season.
Where we talk about the spring season.
And we also have potential one-shots in the works that we'll be recording with.
Exactly. There's a lot, too. I mean, Deadpool movie's coming out this year, so we're going to be
not
talking
as
about
many
that.
Marvel films this year, but we do our best to cover the big films.
Exactly. Star Wars Acolyte show is going to be coming out, so we're going to be watching
excited.
that. We might discuss X-Men 97 a little bit. Honestly, there's a lot that we're going to be chatting about, and that's just within the next 11 episodes.
And that's without the help of you guys.
Exactly.
We're always open to suggestions. If there's something specific you guys want our input on, we're happy to give it, even if it's bad.
Exactly.
Because sometimes our opinions are bad.
Sometimes our opinion is not going to be your opinion, and vice versa.
I like to think that our opinions are good,
but
sometimes when I'm saying my opinion, I know it's not good.
Exactly.
But in my head, I'm like, nah, it's good.
Yeah, we're going to be probably talking about later on certain manga that are ending soon, potentially. But
we definitely are more in line with the Shonen Jump.
Yeah.
What's going on
We might be talking about One Piece at some point. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. We dabble.
Exactly. Probably some Percy Jackson talks in the near future.
Yeah, new
book came out last year. There's going to be another new book coming out this year.
Show's going to keep going.
Show's going to be renewed.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yep. Season 2, Season 3 of that we're going to be talking about eventually. Yeah. There's a lot.
And potential new stuff. Like,
Exactly.
You never know. Matt still needs to watch both Dune films. Maybe he ends up going down a huge Dune rabbit hole as well. Or wormhole. Ha! See what I did there?
You get it if you
That's a
watch
Dune joke.
Yeah.
But
I'll be reading more manga every so often. We do like a catch-up part of the episode where Connor talks
when we
about
find
what
time,
he's watched and read recently, what I've watched and read recently. And other than that, I think that is that's the Nerdy Misfit in a bubble in 45 minutes.
Yeah, in 45 minutes or so. So we hope that if you're already a listener, you continue listening. We hope you learned something new about us. If not, well, dang, ask a question then, because
we need to know, what do you want from us?
That was a lot.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was basically us in a nutshell. If you have anything that you want to know, ask it in our Discord. The podcast is on every big podcast platform that we know of. If it's not on one that you use, let us know. We'll make sure that the feed gets out to it. We're also on YouTube. Which we weren't. Now we are.
Everything's caught up. We were behind, but now we're not anymore.
Exactly. And yeah, just look forward to more episods, guys. And gals and non-binary
Wednesday.
pals.
Exactly.
That was from one of my favorite food YouTubers, actually.
That's good. I like that.
It's very cute.
Yeah, I like that. And we'll be here every Wednesday. Every single Wednesday. And maybe we'll have some specials in the future, too.
Not on Wednesday.
Not on Wednesday. We've had 6
sometimes
specials.
on Wednesday.
Sometimes on Wednesday. Sometimes not on Wednesday, but mostly on Wednesdays.
Sometimes about food.
Sometimes about food. Sometimes
eating
not
too much
about
food.
No, never enough food.
I was thinking more like the chocolate.
Oh my gosh, the chocolate episode, the worst. Anyways, I'm Matt.
And I'm Connor.
And we'll see you next Wednesday, I guess.
Heck yeah.
Bye.
TNMP, the Nerdy Misfit Podcast. Don't forget to join the island by dropping a follow. Thank you. And see you next week.